9 days after Donald Trump's landslide victory, the deep state is having a complete meltdown. Why? Because the new cabinet picks are their worst nightmare come true. Matt Gaetz as Attorney General, Elon Musk leading government efficiency, RFK Jr. at Health and Human Services, Marco Rubio at State. And that's just the beginning. The swamp creatures are in full panic mode, and tonight we have exclusive details about how these appointments are already sending shockwaves through Washington. The administrative state's days are numbered, and the bureaucrats know it. This isn't just a new administration, it's a complete demolition crew. And speaking of demolishing old systems, let me tell you about what's demolishing men's testosterone levels in America. No, it's not Whoopi Goldberg. But did you know there's one common food? Something you probably eat every day. It's destroying your body's natural testosterone production. Well, the deep state doesn't want you to know this, but our friends at V-Shred, well, they've exposed it. Just like Trump's new cabinet is cleaning house in D.C., you need to clean house in your diet. Visit sculptnation.com/NNN now to discover what this testosterone-killing food is and take back control of your health. You'll find it linked below. There's a video there. Check it out. Okay. Chad Pergram posted this about 12 hours ago. This is what Blumenthal had to say. Matt Gaetz' nomination alone is likely to bring chaos to the Department of Justice because it will prompt major resignations among the professionals who have no intention of serving with the Attorney General interested in pyrotechnics and acting rather than real law. Well, guess what? If you are going to resign, you're going to make Matt Gaetz' job a lot easier. Let the trash take itself out. And it's not just at the Department of Justice. You know, RFK has now been appointed to Health and Human Services. And it's already out there. Hundreds of people are already getting ready to jump ship because they know what's going to happen. He's going to come in with a wrecking ball and he's going to take out that all the dead weight. In fact, I have been texting with Ty Bollinger. In fact, he brought this to my attention. Like I was checking it out when RFK when he was announced. And real Donald Trump posted, "I'm thrilled to announce RFK as the United States Secretary of Health and Human Services." And this is what we found out earlier. RFK Jr. plans to fire 600 employees at the National Institute of Health. 600 employees. National Institute of Health. Remember what they did during the pandemic? Remember what the advice and the guidelines that they gave everybody? Mm-hmm. Who can forget, right? We got more on that in a moment. But first, there's one person who is not happy about Matt Gaetz becoming the secretary, his appointment at the Department of Justice, Attorney General. It's John Bolton, Mr. Mustache himself.
Against both.
Tulsi Gabbard, what are your thoughts this morning?
Well, I thought it was the worst cabinet level appointment in history until they then heard about the Matt Gaetz appointment. Really, my reaction was that this is like the legend of Caligula, the Roman emperor, who wanted to nominate his horse as a Roman consul. You had to be a Roman senator at the time to be a consul, and it was intended to show how demeaned and degraded the Roman Senate had become. So now we're going to see whether the American Senate can stand up and reject two people who are totally unqualified, unfit professionally, and really lacking in the moral characteristics, the character that you need to hold these jobs. I think this vote should be 100-0 against both of them.
Yeah, sure. Well, guess what? Donald Trump has other plans. He has a secret weapon he's about to deploy. A lot of people, though, they want Alex Jones to become the press secretary. Alex Jones was 12 hours ago. Feds forced Alex Jones out of InfoWars Studios, but he's still live. And we have some more updates on that coming very soon. But Alex Jones is press secretary. Everybody wants it. Everyone would love to see it. At first, I thought it was a crazy idea at first, but truly, I want to see Alex Jones as press secretary now. Am I nuts? The greatest alliance in politics of all time. Now, if only Alex Jones got to be press secretary for a day. Of course, Elon Musk, as you know, he's been tapped to lead the Department of Government Efficiency, and he's going to be working alongside Vivek Ramaswamy and Ron Paul to cut the fat from government. They've got a website they're going to be launching where you can actually take a look. This is the best part, where you can look and see which agencies and which, line item grants, programs, where all your tax money is going, and you can vote for them, which one you want to see axe and which one you think should be kept. And I think we got a clip here from Rand Paul talking about some of those things. Let's see, where's Rand Paul? I've got the clip. But remember, they're complaining. Bolton's complaining about Matt Gaetz. But these are some of Biden's teams. They salivated over them, had no problems, although they screwed everything up. Yeah, look at these folks. I mean, the train derailment in East Palestine. Where was Pete Buttigieg? Nowhere to be found. And then this person in the bald person here getting caught stealing people's luggage. I mean, it just goes on and on. I have the clip here from Rand Paul. Here. Okay, so 16 hours ago, Elon Musk must be fixed ASAP. Here's an example of some of the lunacy that we're going to expect is going to be gone. I love Rand Paul.
Of a gun that a looming recession, spurred largely by exorbitant government spending, would give this Congress pause. But instead of taking a minute to consider what a responsible federal government budget looks like, we are instead placed behind the barrel of a gun, forcing us to choose between letting government expire or blindly passing a $1.7 trillion spending package that not only does not balance, but in fact spends over 10% more than last year. How does Congress spend taxpayers' money? Well, here's just a few examples of how your government currently spends money. We found that they spent last year $2.3 million injecting beagles with cocaine. It seems that they were curious, their researchers were curious, despite the pain they inflicted on these dogs, they were curious to know if cocaine causes adverse effects. Guess what? Read the newspaper. Read the news. Look at the addicts across our country. You think you need to inject beagles with cocaine to know that cocaine's a bad deal? $700,000 was spent to study how male parrots attract their mate. Really? We've got people who go hungry in our country. We got people that are trying to get out from behind poverty, and we're spending $700,000 studying how male parrots attract a female. We spent $187,000 to study whether or not dogs help kids cope. Of course they do. Ask any pet owner. Any pet owner could have told you, and we would have saved the taxpayer $187,000. We spent $118,000 to study if a metal replica, a robot of Marvel Comics' evil warlord Thanos, could snap his fingers.
What?
$118,000, really. They apparently hired some dude to wear metal gloves and then try to snap his fingers. You know what? They found out that it's impossible to make a snapping sound with metal fingers. So robots of the world, be warned, it's hard to snap your fingers.
That's just a taste of some of the garbage that we are finally going to see. It's only in moments like these, when Rand Paul would go on the Senate floor and he would expose these things, that we would actually learn what government is doing with our money. And now, thankfully, Elon Musk, Vivek, Ramaswamy, Ron Paul are all going to be exposing it, putting it on a website, and we're all going to be able to see it. I can't wait to report on it. I'm going to pull up the website. All right, guys. All right, which one do you think we should cancel today? Oh, HIV transgender monkeys. A study on that? Okay, canceled, right? I mean, what else? Okay, so here we have, going back to the Department of Justice, because Matt Gaetz is creating a lot of waves. He resigned from Congress officially, and he's going to go into that DOJ, and he's going to drop some bombs. And I've got the secret weapon. I'm going to tell you the secret weapon in just a moment of how Donald Trump's going to do this without any obstruction. It's genius, actually. But here is Senator Bill Hagerty dropping truth bombs on MSNBC about the weaponization of the DOJ and obliterating every single BS narrative and Andrea Mitchell that she throws at him. Watch.
Many of the enemy now is Tennessee Republican Senator Bill Hagerty, who served as U.S. Ambassador to Japan during the first Trump administration. Welcome and thank you so much for being with us, Senator. I appreciate it.
It's good to be with you, Andrea.
So what is your reaction to Matt Gaetz as Attorney General? Right now, would you support him?
Listen, Andrea, it's amazing to me that people are reacting the way they are and what you just showed, because there has been no one better at channeling the American public's frustration with the weaponization of the Department of Justice than Matt Gaetz. You can understand the president's frustration with the DOJ. During his campaign, during his first campaign, they used a fake Clinton dossier to spy on him. Look at what happened in the first Trump administration. This whole fake Russiagate hoax, the DOJ investigated him for years doing that. In 2020, the DOJ went to big tech and had them censor Hunter Biden's laptop to throw the election toward Joe Biden. And if you think about what just happened in 2024, the DOJ, their colleagues around the country, they brought 5 different cases to try President Biden's top opponent, President Trump. I can understand his frustration in wanting to put an agent of change in place. I'm not surprised at all.
Well, I don't want to litigate all that happened with Donald Trump because there's a lot of evidence to support many of the allegations. And in fact, the indictments, Mar-a-Lago, the sloppy intelligence handling.
Andrew, I think the American public spoke louder than anybody. They gave him the strongest mandate we've seen in 36 years in reaction to all of this.
But a Trump-appointed judge cut all of that off, and it wasn't fully vetted. So let's just talk about that. Was the legal system at work, no question. And
it was not working. It was weaponized.
Mm-hmm. Well, what about this nominee?
As I said, this nominee has a record
critic himself, but he's been an outspoken critic. But what about his personal record? There are questions about him. He was on the House floor sharing photos of women, bragging about his sexual exploits, about the medication that he used, the drugs that he used. The ethics investigation has not been released yet. It's been cut off. It was supposed to be voted on tomorrow, but his resignation has aborted that. But what about all of the questions and the allegations against him? His co-conspirator and his friend is serving an 11-year jail term for the sex trafficking. I mean, there was plenty to investigate there.
Andrea, you said it yourself. These are allegations. It's amazing that you're more upset about allegations than you are about the weaponization of the Department of Justice. The American public has completely lost faith in the DOJ. Think about it. The DOJ sending their agents to spy on the parents who go to, the school board meetings. It's just amazing. As the American public has seen all of this, they see somebody like Matt Gaetz who's willing to stand up and call it wrong, and President Trump's willing to put somebody in place that will change all of this. That's what the
Yep, that's what the American people want. And that's what the American people deserve. Not people like this, the chest feeders. Okay, so Senator John Cornyn, however, wants to review the House Ethics Committee investigation of Matt Gaetz.
Judiciary Committee be talking about recess appointments.
On the issue of vetting, though, how critical is it then to have access to what the House Ethics Committee has found in their investigation?
I think there should not be any limitation on the Senate Judiciary Committee's investigation, including whatever the House Ethics Committee has generated.
So you want to see it?
Absolutely.
Tulsi. So John Cornyn, he wants to see it. Doug Collins has accepted the nomination as Secretary of Veterans Affairs. Our heroes deserve the best care and support. We will fight tirelessly to streamline and cut regulations in the VA, root out corruption, and ensure every veteran receives the benefits that they have earned. Donald J. Trump officially nominating him. And of course, the left, they are freaking out. Tom Homan is the border czar, Pete Hegseth as Secretary of Defense, Elon and Vivek, Department of Governmental Efficiency, and Matt Gaetz as Attorney General. They are big mad. And Amuse posted this pipe bomb. With Matt Gaetz heading up the DOJ and FBI, I have a funny feeling we're going to find out what that so-called J6 pipe bomb suspect was a federal agent or asset. Representative Barry Loudermilk revealed that the FBI lied about the cellular phone data being corrupted. Senator Ron Johnson, he had some fun. Reporters asked him his opinion on Matt Gaetz, and he unfolded a printout of a picture of Rachel Levine and Sam Brinton and asked reporters whether they harassed Democrats over those nominees. Yeah, remember this picture? Oh, yeah. Okay, so what is the secret weapon? I want to get to that because it was posted by, oh yeah, remember this guy? Yeah. Remember this guy?
It's Cooper.
One sec. Democracy's calling. See you, Daddy. Bye.
Hi, my name is Cooper, and this is a day in my life as a White House intern.
We did it, Joe. Hey, everyone. Vogue.
Usually I start off with a big coffee.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I'm not going to subject you to any more of that. Okay. President Trump also has picked high-profile New York lawyer and prosecutor Todd Blanche to be Deputy Attorney General under Matt Gaetz. Blanche is a bulldog. The Department of Justice is going to be stacked like we've never seen before. Okay, so this is the secret. All right. If you remember, if you watched the Madison Square Garden rally, Donald Trump was on stage. I remember it specifically because he looked over and he looked at Speaker Mike Johnson, who was sitting off to the side. And he said, hey, remember that secret we talked about? The secret. Well, now we're learning more about what that was. So, if you were listening closely, you might have heard Trump mention a secret he had with Speaker Johnson. It's abundantly clear that if Trump wants to put his dream team together, he's going to need to make a bunch of recess appointments. Now, the Senate is unlikely to agree to agree to adjourn, so he can use his authority to adjourn both chambers as long as Johnson cooperates. Under Article 2, Section 3 of the U.S. Constitution, the president has the authority to adjourn Congress in the case of a disagreement between the House and the Senate over the time of adjournment. It's a power that's never been used, never been used in the history of our nation. And its scope remains relatively untested. So here's a quick summary of the conditions that would be needed. One House must request adjournment. One of the chambers, in this case likely the House of Representatives, led by Speaker Mike Johnson, would formally seek to adjourn. The other House must refuse. The other chamber in this scenario is the Senate, must then refuse to agree to this request. If this condition is met, it opens the door for the president to step in and resolve the disagreement by adjourning both chambers. Once Congress is adjourned, the president could use the recess to make recess appointments under Article 2, Section 2 of the Constitution. This would allow Trump to install his preferred cabinet members without Senate confirmation. Checkmate. So this is what everybody's talking about, the secret plan, the recess appointments. And if they pull this off, all of these people that we've talked about, all these people in the nomination process, Gaetz, RFK, etc., would just automatically take the positions. They couldn't haul Matt Gaetz in front of the Senate and grill him like they'd want to. I mean, you know what they do with these hearings. They get a bunch of radical leftists and they all go in the gallery and they make a lot of noise, or they suddenly come up with all these allegations from, oh, Matt Gaetz touched my fanny 20 years ago. Right? All these people are going to come out of the woodwork. But that will all be avoided if Donald Trump and Mike Johnson pull this off. And I remember hearing it so clearly at that Madison Square Garden rally you guys sent me to. Holy cow, man. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing. Senate Majority Leader John Thune says all options are on the table, including recess appointments that would allow confirmation of nominees without Senate confirmation if the Democrats fail to act. I'm going to play this clip, but I want to let you know I've got some stuff with Ron Paul coming up and other great things. So don't go anywhere. Let's listen to this. It's 40 seconds.
If it came, so you've said that you would do recess appointments. If it came to that, what's the threshold for getting to that point for recess appointments?
Well, what I said is, Brett, and I think this is that all options are on the table, including recess appointments. Hopefully it doesn't get to that, but we'll find out fairly quickly whether the Democrats want to play ball or not. And I think part of it is getting these folks. We'll start having confirmation hearings as soon as the new Senate is sworn in January. President takes the oath of office January 20th. By the time he takes the oath of office, hopefully a lot of those nominees will be through their confirmation hearings and will be ready to act on them on the Senate floor. And then it's a question of how much do the Democrats resist or object or try to block those nominations from going forward. And we're going to grind them out. I mean, we're just going to keep consistently moving, and we'll see what kind of cooperation we get. And then we'll, like I said, we'll make decisions about where do we go from there.
Recess appointments are on the table. Now, here's something. Okay, listen, I want you to hear what Ron Paul said here, because I brought it up. I was on Alex Jones' show today, and I brought this up, and I was actually talking to Ann Vandersteel about this last night. And, we were talking about how we got to this point, Donald Trump winning the election. And we talked about the assassination attempts, the ones that we know of. We talked about, all the lawfare, everything they've been doing to try to destroy Trump. Of course, he had all the impeachment hearings and, the Russia investigation, all these things they've been trying to do to stop him. But those are all from institutional attacks. But think about when you cut $2 trillion from the federal budget. When Elon Musk goes ahead and he puts out this list of all these ridiculous programs that are about to get cut. Well, all those programs are run by people. Like the guy who's trying to figure out if a robot can snap or how beagles react to cocaine, right? They're getting lots of money to do ridiculous things. And they are just cashing those checks. Well, what happens when all those checks don't show up anymore? All those programs get cut. All these people who had grants suddenly, oh, sorry, we canceled your grant. Now you're talking not just an institutional attack, you're talking about all the people who are affected by these cuts. And like Ron Paul says here, and Vivek Ramaswamy tweeted it, you can't cut $2 trillion without annoying a couple of people. Listen to this.
The people we have visited with both Musk and Ramaswamy, and they're very, very dedicated, and I think they truly believe that they can cut a couple $1 trillion off the budget. But I don't think my problem with that is that will awaken a lot of people. You can't cut $2 trillion or, without annoying a couple people. We have visited.
Yeah, there's going to be a whole new breed of enemies coming out. Unity has officially occurred. MAGA and MAHA are joining forces. Matt Gaetz nominated as Attorney General. Robert F. Kennedy planning to fire 600 employees of the National Institute of Health. John Bolton freaking out over Matt Gaetz. Robert F. Kennedy posting this: when you realize that the two most profitable businesses are war and illness, it's easy to understand what's going on. Now, Ron DeSantis has just posted this: congratulations to the Floridians being appointed to key positions in the Trump administration. Senator Marco Rubio, which is controversial for many people because of his neocon foundation. Congressman Matt Gaetz and Congressman Mike Waltz. He's instructed Secretary of State Cord Bird to formulate and announce a schedule for the upcoming special appointments. Donald Trump Jr. celebrating the RFK announcement. He will be the Secretary of Health and Human Services. Promises made, promises kept. Now here's Marco Rubio. See, there's a lot of weird speculation. 3 days ago it was Marco Rubio, then it was Rick Grinnell. I was like, who is it going to be? Well, now it's official. Marco Rubio, leading the U.S. Department of State, is a tremendous responsibility, and I'm honored by the trust President Trump has placed in me as Secretary of State. I will work every day to carry out his foreign policy agenda. Okay, let's just hope it's not your agenda. But here's this. Oh, and going back to this, George Papadopoulos posted this as well. Trump can adjourn both houses of Congress under Article 2, Section 3, and then recess appoint his cabinet. There will be no obstruction of his cabinet picks. That is the secret weapon. But here's what Ron Paul had to say. The good doctor had to say about Marco Rubio. He says, really, Mr. President? Let's listen.
So doesn't mean that we got a little bit concerned about this announcement that at least somebody's quoting somebody like Trump and saying Trump said this and Trump's plans to do this. And that has to do with Rubio. You know, Rubio, he's one of those that's not on our favorite list.
No.
So, and that means that he could become Secretary of State. And I don't think that would be good for the country.
No.
So,
or the world.
There's two different kinds of people in the world, the way I see it, when I want to simplify it. There are the authoritarians, and there are the people who want to follow, voluntarism and peaceful means. And I would put him into the category of authoritarianism because he's expressed himself. He wants, and his authoritarianism doesn't mean that he beats up on people. That's a personal thing. But authoritarians in politics is much, much more deadly.
Yeah.
They have more power, and they can do things. They can change the world. They can, especially in the Secretary of State, they can set the stage for a conflict that becomes very real and very dangerous. I think the non-intervention is obviously the way to go, but right now I would say that Rubio, as Secretary of State, would be taking a step in a direction that we would not be pleased with.
Yeah, and I mean, as positive as we felt yesterday, we were talking about some rumors about Vivek Ramaswamy, and although he's not exactly in our camp, he's more of a realistically minded person who we thought would look at the world pretty objectively, and a very smart guy, objectively true, a very smart guy. Well, it kind of went downhill, and I went home, and not only Rubio is bad news, Dr. Paul, I don't want to make it even sound worse, but Mike Waltz as National Security Advisor, an absolute disaster. And Elaine Stefanik, although she won't necessarily be in a policy-making role, she'll be enormously high profile as the U.S. ambassador to the UN. And ironically, because we cheered when Trump said, I will not have Pompeo or Nikki Haley in my administration, she literally is Nikki Haley. You know, she's a younger version of Nikki Haley, in terms of policy. So, very crestfallen on our part. As you say, our fingers are right now so crossed, I think we need a splint on them, hoping that we'll at least get one.
Okay, so think about this. Okay. We got to, regardless, these are all public officials. Donald Trump, Matt Gaetz, Rubio, they are all public officials. And we need to hold them all accountable. It doesn't matter. That is our job as Americans. We can sit here and we can be cheerleaders for Donald Trump. And you guys know that I am in Trump's corner. I mean, look at my desk. Okay? I've got Donald Trump statue that speaks to me.
From this day forward, it's going to be only America first.
I mean, I've got bobbleheads. I mean, listen, I'm a cheerleader for Trump. Not going to lie. But we still need to make sure that the people that he appoints are held accountable too. And if there's something that Trump does, he gets a lot of flack for what he did during the pandemic with Operation Warp Speed. People are still very upset about that, and rightfully so. So there are things we still need to make sure that we are paying attention to hold people accountable and push back when necessary. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, Alan Jacoby posted this. Matt Gaetz will be the next United States Attorney General in one of three ways: successful Senate confirmation, forced recess appointment, or appointed as acting Attorney General. Deal with it. We are the disruptors. Welcome to the Thunderdome. And then Laura Trump now responding to calls for Governor DeSantis to appoint her as U.S. Senator of Florida to fill Marco Rubio's seat. Let's listen.
Live. To be able to serve in this role has really been the honor of a lifetime. Likewise, if I am able to serve, I would love to serve the people of Florida. This is my home state now and has been for 3 years. This is where Eric and I live. And truly to have that opportunity, I think would be incredible. No one knows better than I do the America First agenda or the goals of Donald Trump in the coming 4 years. So if I am asked, I would love to consider it, but I have yet to have a conversation with Governor DeSantis, so we will have to see.
It will be interesting if that actually unfolds, because DeSantis has to appoint her. Now, will there be screams of nepotism? But it can't be nepotism if DeSantis appoints her, right? Of course, if Donald Trump's whispering in his ear. And then we go back to this. Elon Musk, Department of Government Efficiency. I can't wait to see it. Here's Tulsi Gabbard. This is, she was talking with Megyn Kelly about Marco Rubio. This was 2 days ago. Now, Brian, go vertical with this, please.
Wanting to do now, and I think it would be a huge mistake for President Trump to choose him because he represents the neocon warmongering establishment of Washington, D.C., which stands diametrically opposed to the very policies that President Trump has always stood for, going all the way back to when he ran for president in 2016 through that first term in office, and the things that he's talking about wanting to do now. And it would send the wrong message to a lot of folks who are very concerned about the fact that we are on the brink of war with Russia and China and Iran and North Korea. If Marco Rubio is his vice president, then that is what we will face, and it will cause a lot of people to question what kind of foreign policy will cause a lot of people to question is his vice president, then that is what we will face, and it will cause a lot of people to question what kind of foreign policy will actually be executed. Will it be the one that Trump wants and stands for, or will it be one that will continue the deep state neocon warmongers who've gotten us into the mess that we are in now?
Well, obviously he was not chosen to be the vice president, but those are her thoughts on him if he was. But those thoughts still apply to the Secretary of State position. Now, why Donald Trump chose him, I still don't quite understand. But, maybe it is because he is hawkish and he wants somebody that's going to be hawkish out there because Donald Trump, he's not afraid to walk softly and carry a big stick. And maybe he just wants Marco Rubio to carry that stick for him so that the rest of the world knows that Trump ain't messing around. I mean, remember what happened like a couple days into the 2016 administration. One of the first things that Trump did, he dropped a Moab in Afghanistan and just wiped out an entire underground structure of terrorists. And it came out of nowhere. I remember it very clearly. I know you guys do too. You remember that. And that was Donald Trump sending a message. You want to F around, you're going to find out. So maybe Rubio is that big stick. But again, we have to hold him accountable because we don't want to have endless wars. We don't want to get into endless conflicts. We want to extract ourselves. We don't want to keep sending money to Ukraine, sending money to all these nations. We want peace. And if Rubio is able to negotiate these peace deals with Donald Trump, then so be it. That's what we want. Let's just hope he listens. Did you see this? This was so awesome. This was Sylvester Stallone. He showed up at Mar-a-Lago. Brian, go horizontal with this. Sylvester Stallone, man. How cool. Brian, there we go. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, everyone. Boy, I need Spanish lessons. No question about it. Proud to be here. I didn't expect this, but I'll just keep it short and sweet because there's no such a thing as a speech too short. When I did Rocky, if you remember, the first image was a picture of Jesus, and it says Resurrection AC Club. I found a church that had been converted to a boxing ring. So the image pans down from Jesus onto Rocky being hit. And at that moment, he was a chosen person, and that's how I began the journey. Something was going to happen. This man was going to go through a metamorphosis and change lives, just like President Trump. We are in the presence of a really mythical character. I love mythology. And this individual does not exist on this planet. Nobody in the world could have pulled off what he pulled off, so I'm in awe. And I'll just say this, and I mean it. When George Washington defended his country, he had no idea that he was going to change the world. Because without him, you can imagine what the world would look like. Guess what? We got the second George Washington. Congratulations!
The second George Washington. That is who it is, man. That's what we've got. And I'm here for every moment. President Trump says that Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan Chase will not be invited to be a part of the Trump administration. Dimon's wife, Judy, campaigned for Kamala Harris. I respect Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan Chase, Trump says, greatly, but he will not be invited to be a part of the Trump administration. I thank Jamie for his outstanding service to our country. Oh, Judy Dimon, Jamie Dimon's wife, campaigns for Harris. Yeah. Senator Rick Scott supports Lara Trump to fill Marco Rubio's seat. We're learning that. So much is happening in the country, but having Alex Jones as press secretary would certainly be epic. What do you guys think? Would you like to see that, even for a day? A surprise walk-in from Alex Jones. God, I would pay millions of dollars to see that, if I had millions of dollars. So I think we've covered a lot of ground here. I think one of the most exciting things, too, though, is Robert F. Kennedy reportedly planning to fire 600 employees at NIH. So let's keep it up, keep the pressure on, hold them all accountable, keep watching, and celebrate, but hold them accountable. So the establishment thought they could stop Trump's America First agenda. Instead, they're watching as he assembles the most powerful anti-deep state cabinet in American history. From Gaetz bringing the hammer of justice to Elon Musk chainsawing through bureaucracy to RFK Jr. exposing Big Pharma, this is the team that keeps the globalists all up at night. And while you're watching this historic transformation, don't forget to grab your exclusive Next News merch at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. It's linked below. Wear it proudly as we witness the swamp being drained in real time. But here's what we need you to tell us in the comments. If you could add one more person to Trump's cabinet, who would it be? And for what position? Who else deserves a shot at demolishing the deep state? Drop your dream picks down below.